Hello, in this screencast I will show you how to write a program that converts Cartesian coordinates to polar coordinates. As usual, we first have to create a project, and I'll call this project coordinate conversion. And once we have the project, we need to create a new class. I'll name the class the same. So since we'll ask the user to enter the coordinates, we have to import the scanner. So whenever you have the user entering any type of input, you have to write this import statement at the beginning. Another thing, we're going to use some methods from the math library. We don't really have to import the math library because it's part of the Java language, but it's a good idea to learn a little bit about import statements, so I'm going to import it here. In general, we can have many import statements at the beginning, and they just tell the compiler which libraries we're going to use. Next thing is write the main method. And now we first have to declare a variable for the scanner. So this is quite standard, it doesn't really change much. So we have scanner input equal new scanner, and we want to specify to use the system input, or that is the terminal. Then we have to declare the variables. So we certainly have to have two variables. One is for the x coordinate, another one is for the y coordinate. Because x and y are real numbers, so we're going to use double. And another double variable, y equals 0. So remember, we first write the type of the variable and then the name of the variable. So in this case, double x equals 0, double y equals 0. And we're going to need two additional variables for the polar coordinates. And in the polar coordinate system, we have a radius and phi, the angle between the axis and the radius. So I'll declare variable radius, initialize it to 0, declare another variable phi equal to 0. Next thing, we need to print out a message to the user and let the user know what we expect of him or her to do. Enter the x and y coordinates. And then read this coordinate using the input from scanner. So in the scanner we have a few different methods for reading input. We've seen already nextInt, which is for reading integers. Now, because the variables are double, we actually want to read double. And we can type in next double. If you want to read words, like a single word, then you use next. If you want to read a whole line, you use next line. These methods return strings, so you have to use them with string variables. Okay, so next thing is read the y coordinate. Now we need to convert these two coordinates to the polar coordinate system, and the formulas for that are quite straightforward. The radius is math.sqrt, which stands short for square root, and the radius is the square root of x to the power of 2 plus y to the power of 2. And then for the angle, the formula is arcus tangens of y over x. However, we're using the math formula for arcus tangens, and this one uses two parameters. We first specify the y coordinate and then we specify the x coordinate. So this will calculate the angle, and we're almost done here. We just need to print the polar coordinates to the user. So let's do it with 3 separate messages. You can do it in different ways. It's not really that relevant for now. Again, we're using concatenations, and here we're concatenating the message radius plus the value of the variable radius. Next, we're going to do the same for phi, the angle. And we're done with our program, so let's just run it and see what happens. Let's enter 1 and 1. And this is right. We can try again with inputting the real numbers. So let's say we're going to enter 10.2 and 34.2, and we get the polar coordinates. So that's it for this example. Thanks for watching.